Happy Sunday morning, everyone, or whatever time of day it is for you. Uh, Today we're doing another installment of Angels, Demons, and Gods in the New Millennium, and uh, we have started the chapter on Kabbalah, Zen of the West. Is this kosher? And this morning we're going to be talking about this tree of life. Like a lot of books I write, it's a combination of textbooky kind of information and narratives and other sometimes just nonsense. But this chapter has a few little graphic elements to it that I will try to communicate here during a reading like this. And one of them is this very simple drawing of the classic Kabbalah tree of life. And surrounding the top there are those three veils of the negative. Ein Sof, and Ein Sof Or that we were talking about yesterday. So we're going to talk a little bit more. This chapter talks a little bit more at this point about the tree of life. And that's where we're going to be starting. So let me see where we are here. Yes. The Princess Bride by S. Morgenstern. One of my favorite movies of all time. Sorry, I couldn't. I'll back up just a paragraph from yesterday to show us where we're at. In order to, quote, reduce all conceptions to those of number and lay bare the very structure of the mind, unquote, Kabbalists utilize a number of techniques, including the employment of a divine numerology, known as gematria, a shorthand system known as notarikon, and the cryptographic exercises of Temura. In the space permitted, I will try to describe these basic principles and techniques. But before we start our examination of these operations, I think it's appropriate to say a few words about the relatively modern Kabbalistic device, the Tree of Life. I say modern because the Tree of Life, as it is constructed today, did not appear until 1652, when A. Kircher published the diagram in his Oedipus Egypticus. However, the components of the tree are among the most ancient principles of Kabbalistic doctrine. The Tree of Life. And it's see figure 1, which I've already shown you. The Tree of Life is a linear schematic of 10 emanations and 22 paths upon which the universal mechanics of energy and consciousness are projected. In one respect, it is a very unsatisfactory diagram, for it attempts to dimensionalize the transdimensional. It's been called the diagram of the anatomy of God, and if we are indeed created in the image of God, then that means that it also reveals the spiritual anatomy of each of us. Students of Kundalini Yoga agree and point out that the 7 chakras, or spiritual centers of the human body, can be projected quite comfortably on the Tree of Life. All 10 sephiroth, or emanations of the tree, are really only aspects or facets of the top, or first sephirah. That's it. That's a whole ball of wax. That's the big oneness. There ain't no... Everything's not only inside that oneness, but even the inside, the concept... Well, never mind. But even the concept of one is a blemish on the sublime perfection of the pre-existent zero. And that pre-existing zero is that sort of black oval, three-part black oval at the top there. If one is to exist and become conscious of its oneness, it must reflect itself. Like a yogi in meditation, who reaches to the core of being and exclaims, "Oh, that's what I am." The mere act of reflection creates two. But two isn't a thing. Two is just the reflection of one. Got that? One is now conscious of itself and its reflection. The knowledge that there's a difference between the one and the two instantly creates a third condition. One, its reflection, and the knowledge that there's a difference between the one and its reflection. Two instantly creates a third concept, and all of them together create a trinity unit. 1, 2, and 3 aren't three separate numbers. 1, 2, and 3 are just one thinking about itself. One is now conscious of itself and its reflection. The knowledge that there's a difference between 1 and 2 instantly creates the third condition. This trinity by itself is still an abstraction and exists only in potentiality. Nevertheless, a primal pattern has been established by the process of 1 becoming 3. This archetypal germ sets into motion a chain reaction that animates the entire creation scenario. The process of consciousness or light or spirit descending into matter. The phenomenal universe manifests through a process of degeneration in the next 7 Sephiroth. The Trinity unit, 4, 5, and 6, is created by the reflection of the 1, 2, and 3 Trinity unit. So I'm going to illustrate that. Just as 2, the concept of true, 2, is the reflection of 1, and that 1, 2, and 3 are just a unit. It's just one thinking about itself. Nevertheless, that Trinity unit also reflects itself, like a grosser echo of the process that started with 1 becoming 2. And the same process that created 3 from 1, 2 creates the third Trinity unit, 7, 8, and 9. Pretend this is a blackboard. Ten, the world of matter, is rock bottom and dangles from the tree like an afterthought of creation. It's a dingleberry hanging from the navel of the universe. There's your tree of life. The great work of the initiate magician is to reverse this process and systematically climb the tree of life, overcoming imbalances and imperfections in his or her own being, thereby achieving progressively exalted states of consciousness. The entire journey is a series of ordeals. But the two crises, but two of the crises are most significant. The first, when the candidate reaches the sixth Sephirah, Tifereth, and achieves the knowledge and conversation of the holy guardian angel. Right there. When our consciousness expands from number 10 and joins and is absorbed and realizes and self-identifies with the consciousness level represented by number 6. Okay, hang on, let me find out. The second is most terrible and represents the single most profound moment in our incarnation. It is faced only when the initiate has achieved the level of consciousness so high that in order to proceed further, it requires the abandonment of all the old machinery of self-identity and perception. It means quite literally the annihilation of everything that the individual has heretofore believed to be the components of personality and self. On the tree of life, this crisis comes when the candidate's initiatory career finds him or her ready to move from the level of consciousness represented by the fourth Sephirah, the highest point of the actual. See the highest point? It's the highest point of the actual universe there, which is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 4 is the highest point there. It's the jumping off point between the actual and the ideal. By the fourth Sephirah, the highest point of the actual, to the inscrutable emptiness of the third Sephirah of the supernal triad, the world of the ideal. Notice there is no path leading from 4 to 3. An abyss of indefinable mystery yawns before the candidate, who must rely solely upon the immense gravitational pull of the 3 and his or her own initiatory momentum as to hurl him or her through the looking glass that is the abyss. Now, on Wednesday, the September 30th, I'm giving a Zoom presentation on the abyss, and we'll be talking about this in more detail. If this is at all interesting to you, I strongly urge you to register for that program, and I think the links are just right here on my page. Just look down. Okay. There is no path leading to 3 to 4. Okay. No one whose point of perception is below the abyss is equipped to understand the nature of reality above the abyss. It is said that below the abyss, division is the result of contradiction, while above the abyss, contradiction is unity. There are many other ways the tree of life is utilized to illustrate the divisions of the Kabbalistic universe. But let's now turn our attention to some of the techniques and exercises that have traditionally been used to induce the exalted states of consciousness whereby the mind of God can be tapped. Okay, I know that's kind of short, but tomorrow we're going to pick up talking about gematria, and then we're going to continue to talk about notericon and temura. And there's more graphs and charts. And if you, I'll do my best to keep up with it. But you can treat yourself actually to the book itself, which has all of these diagrams for you. Now, not all the chapters in this book are so illustrated and defined by their graphs and charts, but this one is. So until tomorrow then, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. I'm looking forward to the equinox. I think it happens around Tuesday, my time, and hopefully we'll celebrate together on the equinox morning. So until tomorrow, continue to be good to yourself and be good to each other. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.